DonInLondon, hello, it's January 7th, 2010. I'm still getting used to saying 2010, and we're a week in already. My video's all about recovery from addiction to substance or behaviour, or being in recovery from addiction to substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol, my behaviour could be as addictive. Work, relationships, collecting, materialism, looking right, feeling right, with a drink inside me back then. But these days, it's about now, and I'm in a 24-hour program of recovery, just for today. A time frame where I'm in the here and now, living life, hopefully as near as can be to reality. And reality being open, honest and willing to face the day as it is, not trying to make it my way or the highway, just trying to live with the choices I have given the present reality. So that means for me I'm of equal status, size and importance. We're all as important as each other, and part of what recovery has taught me is I have a right to be here, I have a right to be a part of life. And even though I was under the influence of alcohol and other addictions to do with behaviour, these days I try and find a bit of balance. So I'm not going to extremes of happiness or sadness. I'm somewhere in the middle. And in those days of drinking, it was always about taking the edge off, either experiencing the highs I thought I was experiencing, but I wasn't, or the lows, the depressions. And I don't underestimate what I was experiencing at the low end of my moods and the high end of my moods. They were as they were, but they were controlled, if you like, by other substances or behaviour. So these days, facing reality head on is not a challenge or a battle, it's just experiencing life as it is. So I don't have to get up and say to myself, I'm fighting for my recovery. These days, I'm living in recovery. So what helps me keep in recovery one day at a time? Well, to get there, from back then, in the drinking days, family, friends, community, all tried to help me. And they did. They loved me long enough for me to get to a rock bottom where I got a moment of clarity, which was, I don't know if it can get any worse. If this is as bad as it can get, why don't I ask for help? I can't do it on my own. And that admission to myself that I wasn't all powerful, all the misunderstandings which were created by a culture, a society and a madness which was the addiction itself, to be in control all the time, made me find that rock bottom. And many people don't, because on the way, obviously, if we're going to extremes of behaviour, if we're on the extremes, then some of us just don't survive. So I'm very fortunate in many ways, and there were some very, very bad moments involving hospital, intensive care, being brought back from the brink. And the trouble was, at that time, I was still laughing and joking and putting on a brave face. But these days I don't have to. I just have to face what is in an open, honest way. And that's what a 24-hour program has taught me. So why now does it work? Well, there are many ways to get sober, and I wouldn't knock any one of them if it's working for you. I am part of the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and it keeps me on track a day at a time. And I share experience, strength and hope here, because some people can't get out and about. Some people want a reminder, and I need to remember what is important to me. Sobriety comes first, and if sobriety comes first, then I can live life. So, what is AA? How does it help me? I'll share the AA preamble or statement of intent, and it goes like this. And then I'll share something about the literature. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Yeah, and we all share our experience, strength and hope in order that we can help with a little bit of wisdom maybe, or some of the pitfalls we've experienced in recovery. And I was very fortunate to go to a meeting last night. It was about -4 or -5 degrees centigrade, so as I set off in the evening, the roads were freezing up and I get about on a bicycle. So I got there in one piece and I had to be very careful coming home. But in between at the meeting, it was good to see a friend of mine, not close but friendly enough, to get a 3-year chip for their sobriety. And you know, that's remarkable. It's a remarkable achievement, 3 years, 1 day at a time. But I know that first day was the hardest one for me. So anybody who makes it through 1 day, it doesn't matter if it's continuous sobriety or not after that, we're on a path, and we know and start to understand there is a difference between being in the problem of alcoholism and trying to find the solution. And that is a very painful process, as anybody in recovery knows. It is extremely painful because we have to admit our powerlessness over the addiction and life is unmanageable, and then find a way to move along in recovery 1 day at a time. Never cured, but in recovery and making or enabling life to work, or living life. So I share readings here from the Daily Reflections, which is all about the 12 steps of AA. That's the 12 steps of action to change attitude and behaviour. And the first step in January, all about life, powerlessness over alcohol and life being unmanageable if we keep on drinking. But if we get into the solution, how is life going to be? So January the 7th, it says here, at the turning point. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. And the his there is God, or in many cases is good conscience, whether we're atheist, agnostic or believers in God. So whatever the higher power is, if it's to good conscience or to the wisdom we are collecting and learning and then living in AA, it's about surrendering our own willpower, because our own willpower got us to a place of self-obsession, self-will, and no off switch to the addictions we have. And it goes on to say, every day I stand at turning points. My thoughts and actions can propel me toward growth or turn me down the road to old habits and taboos. Sometimes turning points are beginnings, as when I decide to start praising instead of condemning someone, or when I begin to ask for help instead of going it alone. At other times, turning points are endings, such as when I see clearly the need to stop festering resentments or crippling self-seeking. My shortcomings tempt me daily, therefore I also have daily opportunities to become aware of them. In one form or another, many of my character defects appear daily: self-condemnation, anger, running away, being prideful, wanting to get even, or acting out of grandiosity. Attempting half measures to eliminate these defects merely paralyzes my efforts to change. It's like saying, I'll do it tomorrow. It is only when I ask God for help, or good conscience and the wisdom, the collective wisdom of humanity, I feel, with complete abandon, that I become willing and able to change. And the gift there for me is, it is all about being open, honest and willing to change my attitudes and behaviour on a daily basis, to move away from the problem and into the solution of living. So in an open, honest way, finding acceptance of what is today, and the serenity prayer, which is to acceptance, part of a daily meditation for me. Whether you believe in God or not, meditation works. It's a reflection into the now. So, to God, all good conscience, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, always and for me, just for today.